Hello everybody, my name is Jordan and this is True Humanity. I'm excited to announce our official launch here today, with our first videos coming out over the next week. I'm creating this video for our pre-launch to give you an overview of what True Humanity is all about and what you can look forward to seeing in the coming videos I'll be releasing. What I'm seeking is the ultimate truth and the true nature of humanity. This is a place where I can collect my thoughts, combine research, and put them all into one place with the goal of sharing this knowledge with as many people as possible. Here at True Humanity, I'll be discussing everything about life and reality, from our origins, our purpose, our history, and many different subjects relating to everyday life, and how we can ultimately come together as one to make this experience we call existence filled with joy, love, peace, and prosperity. I hope you could come along and join me on this wonderful journey. Some of the main topics or areas of interest I'll be talking about here at True Humanity include catastrophism, ancient advanced civilizations, unifying principles, the human condition, current affairs, and many other great mysteries. So, to give you an idea of what I mean by each of these topics, I'm going to briefly go over some key details about some of the information I'll be exploring within each topic. By all means, this is only scratching the surface of what I'll be getting into in future videos. And though this video I have written down a rough script so that I can get everything into one picture for you guys, my future videos won't be as scripted or as ordered per se as they are here. So, the first topic I'd like to touch on a little more is catastrophism. Firstly, I'd like to preface this topic. My goal here is not to be running around screaming the end is near, okay? But instead, to try and convey to everyone the importance of how catastrophes have influenced the human story over the past 12,000 years and beyond, and how they can still do so today. Most important of these events will be what occurred during the period of 12,800 years ago and 11,800 years ago, and the events of 5,000 years ago with the subsequent reemergence of civilization in the Fertile Crescent region of what is known as modern-day Iraq today. There are many great individuals out there who have been working diligently over several decades to try and amass this enormous amount of evidence to show that, yes, there have been global catastrophes on a scale not witnessed in modern time that have completely altered the planet's geography, geology, and the direction and survival of many ancient civilizations and the human species as a whole. When we look back throughout history, the evidence is overwhelming that catastrophes have shaped the world we live in today. I'll be discussing topics such as the different cosmic forces, which include comets, asteroids, the electric universe, the sun's impact on the planet, and other cosmic incidents that may have affected us in the past. If you're watching this and you're familiar with the works of Randall Carlson or Graham Hancock, then you'll be able to get an idea of what information I'll be talking about in terms of catastrophes throughout human history. And I will be referencing their material as frequently as needed to show just how much evidence is out there on this subject. Without a doubt, cosmic impacts and forces have played the central role in the rise and fall of civilizations on this planet. So, the next major topic I'll be going into is the evidence for ancient advanced civilizations throughout human history. Almost every person today has at least heard of the Great Pyramids of Giza in Egypt, or perhaps other similar sites such as Baalbek in Lebanon, Petra in Jordan, and one of the newest discoveries, Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. A quick glance into any of these sites is sure to leave you with some sort of wonderment and amazement. But how many of us have truly gone beyond that and asked, how did they do it? How did they do it? Was it what we have been taught to believe by the Egyptologists and the history books in school, using levers and pulleys, log rolling, and thousands of slaves? Many of these stones weigh in excess of multiple tons. Not to mention there are over 2 million stones that make up the Great Pyramid of Giza. That's not even including the megalithic stones that weigh 1,200 tons each, located in Baalbek, Lebanon. One wrong placement of a Great Pyramid stone and the end result becomes a corkscrew. If this was the only exciting discovery about the pyramids, I could understand being dismissive of anything other than a grand project possibly constructed by the early dynastic Egyptian culture. But this is only scratching the surface. Through the different works of various researchers, we now know that the Great Pyramid is perfectly aligned, almost perfectly, to true north and south, has the exact measurements of the Earth encoded into the geometric construction of the pyramid itself, and many of the numbers associated with measuring the Great Pyramid and the Earth itself appear in very ancient texts around the globe, such as the Vedic traditions and the Bible, among many other texts. I want to pause briefly in discussing what True Humanity is going to be about to bring up the Sphinx, the Great Sphinx, which is located right in front of the Great Pyramid on the Giza Plateau in Egypt. Because until the beginning of 2019, even I wasn't aware of the fact that it was discovered back in the 1990s. And this fact is quite shocking, because Egyptologists would have us believe that the Sphinx was originally built about 4,500 years ago. But thanks to the work of the late John Anthony West and Dr. Robert Schoch of Boston University, we now know the dating of the Sphinx goes back thousands of years older than even the founding of the dynastic Egyptian culture itself around 3000 BC. Through the examination of the erosion around the Sphinx enclosure, it has been proven that major water erosion has occurred on and around those stones. And the last time there was major rainfall in the Nile Valley and around the Giza Plateau goes back to a period of at least 11,000 years ago. When we begin to understand this evidence and combine it with the information about the Great Pyramid, you can begin to see something isn't right here. What we've been taught isn't lining up with the hard scientific evidence. Other topics I'll discuss within the ancient civilization sphere will explore some of these ancient megalithic structures and sites scattered across the globe, the sacred geometry that they are built upon, the many myths and legends which, when viewed through a lens of memories and not fantasy, can begin to paint a broader picture of the enormous missing story of humanity, which the current paradigm say only go back to roughly 5,000 years ago with the emergence in ancient Mesopotamia of those civilizations. When we consider the hard scientific evidence that anatomically modern humans with the same build and the same brain size as somebody in 2019 have existed for at least 200,000 years, you can begin to ask the question, where's the rest of the story? Why do we not understand our origins, or where we came from, or how we got here? For those familiar with the works of Randall Carlson, Graham Hancock, Brian Forster, and others, we will also be discussing this research and many of their findings and how it all fits into the true story of humanity. The next major topic I'll be discussing within True Humanity is the Unifying Principles. So what do I mean by that? Well, if we first tie in the information about these ancient civilizations and some very obvious anomalies about these sites, we can begin to explore the features that show the connections to and through humanity. If we look at the Great Pyramid itself, it becomes apparent that this wasn't a tomb. In fact, no pharaoh was ever entombed in the Great Pyramid. But when you take into account the measurements and the interior design of the pyramid, it goes beyond simply being an architectural and monumental landmark. Anyone who has had the opportunity to be in the so-called King's Chamber can attest to the fact that there is some sort of harmonic resonance and frequency connection between the structure and the individual who is in that chamber. Now, I'm not saying this was a place of worship or even any sort of spiritual center, but when looking at the totality of the structure itself, it seems there is more to it than just a stone pyramid, which already becomes apparent when looking at the astronomical and geometrical significances of this structure. The Great Pyramid served more than one purpose. So when I talk about unifying principles, I'll be exploring how the ancients connected with the above and the below. A sad thing has happened over the past several thousand years, especially over the past century, in that we have disconnected ourselves from the spirit and the connection between Earth and the cosmos above. The ancients understood this principle, and its evidence in the megalithic stone structures, the myths, the stories, the legends, and the surviving history we have from ancient Sumeria, early Egypt, and the early Mesoamerican cultures, such as the ancient Mayans, Incas, and Aztecs. Today, more than ever, we forget we're walking around on the surface of a giant rock, flying through space, interacting with everything around it. Unfortunately, a negative aspect of this great industrial and technological age we live in has shielded us from looking up and truly admiring the night sky. Whether it's due to light pollution or the myriad of distractions we have right in front of us, whether they be media, politics, technology, and somehow becoming less social and disconnected with the larger picture. We have removed ourselves from truly understanding the wonder of the unity between the universe, our planet, and ourselves. I look forward to going into more depth on the ideas of harmony, oneness, compassion, understanding feelings and consciousness, and the true unity of humanity, consciousness, nature, and aligning them to the resonance of the universe. I think we believe in our hearts that we're destined for greater things than what the current paradigm and establishment of the modern world today would have you believe. One of the final major topics I'll be discussing in these videos is the human condition, which also ties into the principle of unity. I believe anyone with an understanding of the world today can attest to the fact that something isn't right, and what we're seeing is the result of disconnect from spirit, the earth, and the universe. The detrimental effects of this species in amnesia, as Graham Hancock has coined, has led us to construct this false reality, some subconsciously, others deliberate, leading to what we're witnessing in the world today, such as war, greed, hate, anger, fear, anxiety, depression, isolation, confusion, division, poverty, selfishness, and more. All of these things go in direct opposition to what the ancient teachings tell us. This will be an area where I can explore further how the human condition has evolved over the millennia, and we can begin to see the trends and evidence to support the current state of the world we witness today. The last major topic area I'll be focusing on during the beginnings of this True Humanity project is current affairs. One of the areas I believe consciousness is trying to reach out to wake us all up is through art. Some may say art imitates life, or life imitates art. And art in all different mediums, whether film, music, literature, etc. Consciousness is reflecting itself in the artistic mediums of today. We will be exploring various parallels and allegories within movies, media, and music. Another aspect of current affairs will be reviewing any new evidence that comes out daily that may complement the topics we're discussing here today, whether it is the awareness of our place on this planet, this cosmos, or beyond. Thankfully, we're beginning to uncover amazing things on the surface of our planet, whether through evidence of major cataclysms and catastrophes that are etched into the landscapes of the earth, to the exploration and deeper study of these ancient anomalous megalithic sites located throughout the world, and the sacred geometry built into the architecture, the astronomical significance of many of these sites, and the mystery of how many of these megalithic stones, especially the 1,200-ton blocks that have been lifted off the ground and perfectly placed at the ancient site of the Temple of Jupiter in Baalbek, even though the Temple of Jupiter was reappropriated by the Romans. There was ancient megalithic structure there beforehand. These 1,200-ton blocks couldn't be lifted by the most advanced modern cranes that exist today in 2019. So I believe it's time to wake up, study and examine the facts, and realize we've been a species asleep, misled, manipulated, and lied to through various establishments and organizations over the past several millennia. I'm not exactly sure what the future of this True Humanity project will hold, but I want to begin by trying to get this information out to as many people as I possibly can, so you can go out and do your own research, just as I have, and discover for yourself the great mysteries of human history that have been withheld from each one of us. I will cite and link to as many sources as I can when discussing different topics in these upcoming videos. I want this process, these videos, the True Humanity project to be as natural as it can be, and I'm not looking to rigidly structure these videos in future podcasts, though I have done so today to introduce you to the topics I plan to discuss. I'm very excited about what is to come and believe that the more people who can be exposed to this information and then go on to study more evidence on their own, the more we're going to see that there's much more that unites us all than that which divides us. If anything I've discussed here today interests you, please consider subscribing to this channel, liking, and sharing this video. If you would like to be notified of whenever a new video is added, please click the little bell icon below to be alerted when a new video is uploaded. Thank you for taking the time to check out what I'm doing here and what True Humanity is all about. And I look forward to many, many more videos and explorations in the future. And I'll see you guys soon. Thank you. Bye.